Alright, what is going on, guys? HC Jam is here, back with another Street Fighter 5 video. This one is going to be back to the guides that you guys know and love. I'll probably put this part as the impromptu guide, maybe not. I'll probably put this as a separate guide. Yeah, we'll put it as a separate guide. But we're going to be talking about matchups, or we're going to be delving into how I look at matchups meticulously in Street Fighter 5. And the example we're going to be using throughout this video, because I was very finicky with this and it took quite a while to decide which character to pick, but I've ended up picking Akuma, or Goki for some of you may refer him as. And it's funny because my last video was based on Akuma, so now we're going to do an even more in-depth video with the matchup knowledge I know for Mika versus Akuma. But like I said, this is going to be a universal outline I have for when I'm looking at matchups with Rainbow Mika. You know, I've condensed it down quite a bit, so there's going to be a lot I'm going to leave out, because if I was to go through every situation meticulously and be very intricate about it, we'd be here for about 2 or 3 hours. And this is only one matchup, and there's 27 characters in the game. So yeah, hopefully you guys will bear with me and let me know in the comments, you know, if there's something I missed out or something you want to know that I didn't include in the video. But hopefully we can get through this smoothly and succinctly, so if that's even a word. But yeah, we're going to put up the guide, or the outline, the things we're going to be covering over now. So, you know, hopefully we can keep this within an hour, maybe just over an hour. But here's what we're going to be doing. So first up, we're going to be, and with this, I'm listing this from Mika's perspective, not Akuma's. We're going to be switching between the characters, because there's certain examples I need to be Mika, and there's certain examples I need to be the opposing character, in our case, Akuma. So yeah, we're going to put them up on the screen now. So first thing we're going to be looking out for, or going into, is what normals to look out for when we're fighting Akuma. I'm going to obviously rephrase that or reword that differently, but we're going to be paying attention to the common normals, the notorious normals that Akuma will throw out in neutral when we're playing against this character. Also, we're going to be looking at what ranges to jump in at. It's going to be that's a bit of a weird one, a bit unorthodox. Some people are probably thinking, why on earth would he talk about where to jump in at? I thought jumping was very easy. It can be, but obviously, as some of you may know, jumping in is one of Mika's strengths, because her jumping buttons are very potent, they're very prevalent, and I've noted it down because it's very important to know when and where to jump in particular matchups, or in every matchup, but in this case it will be Akuma. We're going to see how he can respond to that as well. Well, hopefully we can do that. We're going to be looking at common block strings you're going to be wanting to do against Akuma. Now these block strings, these frame traps, they're going to be done by the rules. Nothing delayed, nothing done too early. We're just going to be playing by the rules of Street Fighter 5. We're going to be looking at optimal crush counter follow-ups as well. And we're going to be doing it off the example of punishing his EX Brimstone, his invincible reversal. And I picked him because he's got two versions, the non-V-Trigger version and the V-Trigger version. So we'll go through that as well. Post EX Brimstone Situations, sorry. You've seen this been scattered throughout the impromptu guide videos numerous times. But we're going to condense it down and look into it a little bit more, or specifically Akuma's options in the matchup against, how he can deal with that, or what are his defensive options as opposed to Mika's offensive ones, because we already know Mika's offensive ones. If you don't, go and check out the previous videos I've done in the past in the impromptu guide. I'll leave the playlist in the description below. We're going to be looking at EX Shooting Peach utility, again something I've covered in the past, but again we're going to be looking into how it is applied, or EX Shooting Peach is applied in this particular matchup against Akuma. If you want to know how it's used universally, then I urge you to go and check out the impromptu guide playlist that I've done in the past. It's been helpful for a lot of people. Maybe if you're new to this, it can be helpful for you. We've also got, damn, this is really long. We've also got guaranteed V-Reveresal spots, places where you can guarantee yourself a V-Reversal if you're uncomfortable with the situation and the pressure that Akuma is applying to you. That's pretty much it. We've got anti-V-Reversal tech. I'll probably go over this again, or if we come to this section, I'll see, because I've already done a video based on it. I'll probably leave it in the description below the video link I've done, although YouTube cut out half the video, don't know why. Also, we're going to be looking at how Akuma deals with basic things Mika does from his perspective. So how does he deal with dropkick? How does he deal with dive bomb? How does he punish EX Shooting Peach? So on and so forth. We're not going to do it throughout the video, we're going to do it in one section near the end. and I'm going to note down additional things as well. If I can remember anything off the top of my head, we'll put it down at the end. We'll go through that, but this is how we're going to rock it, and that is going to be it for the quick outline, the overview of how we're going to look into this matchup. Enough about me blabbling on, because that actually was a lot longer than I usually do it, but let's get straight into it. So let me just double check that, yep, my stick is all good and it's working. Okay, so the first section we're going to be looking at is what normals to look out for. Now, some of you may think that's a bit foreign to you, and what do I mean by what normals to look out for? Well, in Street Fighter, it's traditional, it's intrinsic to Street Fighter. Footsies happen on a regular basis, and that's when you're going to be throwing out normals in the neutral, and you're going to be pressing buttons to try and clip your opponent, and, you know, turn it into a conversion, turn it into a combo, and get some guaranteed damage. And that was a very sporadic and vague and very unorganized way of defining footsies, but they usually come from normals. They start from normals. Now, some normals have longer range than others, like crouch medium kick for Akuma. Some they're more active than others. You know, crouching hard punch for Akuma's 4 active frames, I believe it is. Some are faster than others. Akuma's stand light punch is 3 frames. 3 frames is the fastest button in the Street Fighter games, as far as I'm aware. Don't quote me on that. But it's just normals each have a purpose, and they all have different purposes and different objectives. And what I tend to do in Street Fighter is I tend to go in when I'm studying a matchup, because I suck at neutral, I suck at footsies. I'm gonna hold my hands up high and say that, but there's definitely a way to go about it. And one of the ways I go about doing this is what normals should I look out for? What are the most potent normals the opponent will throw out, so I can be mentally aware of it and deal with it over time. And with Akuma, we've got crouch hard punch. So this one here, like I showed you just a minute ago. I think it's 8 or 9 frames startup. It's got 4 active frames, and it's +3 on block. So if I put the block on, yeah, so it's +3 on block, and that's kind of common in Street Fighter 5. There's a lot of normals that are +3 on block. Very questionable at the same time as well. He's also got stand medium kick. This is 5 frames startup. It's -2 on block, so you can't apply pressure afterwards. He's safe, but he got sorry, he can't apply pressure afterwards. Got my tongue twisted after I coughed. And this is also a good whiff punishing tool as well, and it's special cancelable, so you can cancel that, but don't do it like that. So that's crouch hard punch, stand medium kick. We also got crouch medium kick as well. This is it's got deceptive range, but it's actually a good button anyway, and it's special cancelable as well. I'll show you why. Let me turn it off. So the reason I say Mika's got to look out for this, or anyone's got to look out for this, is because in neutral, if Akuma has V-trigger or even super, you know, he could cancel it into V-trigger, and then not like that. If he's got V-trigger on deck, this is one of the normals you definitely have to look out for. Not just Mika, anybody. And this is good for clipping people's feet. So see, you can convert into damage like that. That's if you have V-trigger. That's 316 damage, and that's from a crouch medium kick. So you got to be careful. You know, you could do that as well. Crouch medium kick into super. So when Akuma has resources, to be mentally aware of that button, you definitely got to be... It's scary when Akuma has meter, and that's something you got to note down on Mika's end. It's -1 on block, I believe, so Mika can't really... She can't do anything about it. She has to wait for Akuma to commit or cancel into something to maybe V-Reveresal, but we'll get onto that later. But yeah, also you have to remember as well, with crouch hard punch can be comboed from on hit. And I believe, yeah, on block it is +3, so that means if I got Mika to do crouching jab, her 3-frame button, it will get beaten, and then Akuma can convert off it. You can do something basically, and that's something you definitely have to be attentive towards. So you got to know the frame data behind this button, and that's why I've noted it down as a button you got to look out for. Also, about crouching hard punch, should have mentioned it before, it is a crush counter button, so you can convert off it as well. So if Mika's throwing out limbs in neutral, let's say she's gonna do stand medium punch, or try and whiff punish something that Akuma's doing. Akuma can just go like this. He can just go like that and then convert it. So that's why you gotta be careful. You gotta be very careful. And so yeah, we've gone over crouch fierce, crouch medium kick, stand medium kick. Anything else? You gotta look out for stand light punch as well, I guess, because that is Akuma's reversal button, not his reversal move. He can wake up with this if he wants to, and if he does, and he has V trigger on deck, then he can do something like this. So, like I said, every normal in this game has a purpose, and you've just got to find out what that purpose is, and it takes a while to understand what they do. But when Akuma wakes up with this, he can, you know, combo into Tatsu into a combo. Like I said, if he's got V trigger, he can convert into something deadly. He can do something. So if you note down all your opponent's you know, potent normals and try to find out what the purpose of those normals are. They've got multiple purposes, by the way, multiple objectives, not just one. Some of them do have solo objectives, but others have multiple ones, if that makes sense. If you can note them down and memorize them, then you'll kind of be more cautious and not play a bit more reserved, but you'll be more vigilant to how these normals operate in the neutral. So that's gonna be. Is anything else I want to look out for? I guess there's forward hard punch as well. That's a unique normal. It's +1 on block, and Akuma can combo from it as well. So I guess you can note that down. But those are the normals I got down, and I know this has been a bit like very sporadic and all over the place explanation, because I could have delved into it a lot deeper, but we're not gonna go through all of Akuma's normals. Oh, you know what? One other thing I forgot as well is Akuma's crouch medium punch. Again, it follows similar rules to crouch hard punch, because it is, let's put that on, let's turn that on, it is +3 on block. So when Akuma's in your face, he can apply pressure with it and, you know, get a combo or some sorts. So you definitely got to be careful about that. Let's see, can you do that? Yeah. Oh no, he can't. Okay, well, that's something new I learned about the matchup. But yeah, there's definitely things you can learn about the matchup. Oh, that's something I learned. Okay, cool, lovely. But yeah, hopefully you kind of get the idea from that explanation. We're gonna put a summary up on screen now, and this is going over what normals to look out for. And again, we're going to kind of mix it in with the universal way of looking at things, as well as obviously Akuma's been an example. But yeah, let's put them on screen now. So try to list your opponent's potent normals and try to find out the objective behind them. Like I said, the objectives do differ, but if you do know what they are, or you do find out eventually, try to memorize them in the matchup, so when you go against the character, no matter what player, you kind of understand their objective. But obviously the players will kind of utilize them in different ways. Also, I didn't show it here, but try to find a way to counter each of these normals, as well as other normals as well, because that's very important. Always trying to find a way to counter what your opponent does. That's imperative to fighting games as a whole. And this one, I'm not sure if most people have said this, but try to find, when you're looking at your opponent's normals, make note of their fastest normal. Whether it's you know, a crouch jab, stand light kick, whatever. Try to find the fastest normal. It's going to be between, it's either going to be a 3-frame button or a 4-frame button, and then you can tailor your meaty setups towards that. So okay, that's going to go over the what normals to look out for section. Again, very vague. I've tried to condense this down a lot because we can be more intricate and more in depth with this, but I haven't got all day, so I do apologize about that. That's going to cover the normals, and we're going to close out this section here, and we're going to be moving on to what ranges to jump in at. So guys, give me 1 second, let me sort out something, and then we shall move on to one of Mika's favorite things, jumping around the place. So I'll be back with you shortly. Alright guys, we are back, and we're going to be moving on to the next section of this matchup outline guide, or matchup guide outline, something like that, tongues twisted, but you get the idea. We're looking into how maybe just a guideline of how to look into matchups universally for R.Mika in Street Fighter 5. And this section right here, section 2, it's going to be based on what ranges to jump in at. And again, I'm sticking with Akuma. We're going to be sticking with one character throughout this whole thing, because I'm trying to tailor all of these sections to one character, so you guys can apply some of the knowledge in this, mix it with your own, and take it and use it across the board when looking at matchups, meticulously in Street Fighter 5 as a whole. Alright, enough blabbling. So, let's get on to jumping. Now, I'm just going to get Mika to randomly... I'm going to just record this in general. Alright, we got Mika? Yes, we do. Okay, so... Mika likes to jump. She likes to jump in hard punch when I get it to hit. She likes to jump in hard punch. She likes to jump hard kick. She likes to jump in that. She likes to jump around, basically. Now, let's get the recording button again. One thing the opponent has to remember is those are the 3 buttons that Mika likes to commonly jump in at. And Mika wants to jump in at a close range, kind of like about here. Yeah, something about here. Because if you jump in fierce, you'll land on top of their head. If you jump in light kick, you kind of cross up. So you can kind of, at a certain range, at a relatively close range, you can turn this kind of jumping tactic into a 50-50. You have to remember as well that opponents, if they're not confident in anti-airing, they're going to try and walk under you and trying to trip guard you or trying to punish your landing frames on your jump. But yeah, when you're looking at the ranges to jump in at, obviously if you do get the jump in hard punch, you can convert into about 286 damage. That's pretty good on Akuma. Let's get this back there and then record again. And if you do land the cross-up jump light kick, you can get some sort of conversion. Oh, sorry. Let's get that back on. It's going to be a bit weird because... Right, yeah, you can get some conversion. 147, not as powerful as the jump in hard punch ones, because obviously the philosophy is the weaker and faster than normal, the less damage it will do. The stronger and slower than normal, the more damage it will do. That was a bit weird, but I explained it in a Jammer's way, which is an unorthodox way, but hopefully you get the idea. So yeah, learning the ranges of where to jump at is important, and it's definitely a big thing in Street Fighter games, because you know, a lot of damage and a lot of combos you see online or even in tournament, they can be landed from they can be converted from jumping attacks. Now, what I didn't mention is, of course, is jump hard kick. Jump hard kick, you can kind of jump at a further range because the hitbox on it is pretty good. So there's something about there. Now the hitbox is about it's when Mika jumps in with the hard kick, it's basically the length of her boots, and not all of it, but it's definitely the length of her boots. Let's get that back there. Sorry about the whole button press and rewinding, but yeah. So when you're jumping in, sorry, when you're jumping in, or if you want to jump in at a further range, jump in hard kick. Your conversion won't be as powerful as if you landed on the opponent's head with jump hard punch, but jump hard kick is good for when you want to jump in at a range. Very powerful button, and it's something that is definitely quite common. It's a commonly used button for when Mika is jumping in. Now, is there anything else? The other buttons that Mika has in the air, you wouldn't really use them unless they were jumping away, but I might do a video, a more in-depth video of Mika's normals in the near future, but this is just to basically go over the range where to jump at, especially with jump light kick, jump hard punch, and jump hard kick. You can neutral jump with all these buttons and get some sort of conversion, but obviously you have to remember the ranges to jump in at. And remember, this section ain't going to be really long, but however, now let's do this. So let's get this. So we're going to jump in. We're going to go back to what we were doing before with the jump hard punch and the jump light kick. So if I was to get the jump hard punch connection, so we're going to do that, right? Now, Akuma is going to respond by, let's see, we're going to do it. Okay, so he can't DP there. But one of the answers Akuma wants to do to make sure that Mika cannot jump in a range where she's comfortable at, he's got to space himself to where Mika doesn't land on his head or get a cross up. He's got to be in a range where he can get medium DP, or he can get, I believe it's back hard punch? Should be back hard punch. Let's see. Okay, maybe not that one. But damn, I waited a really long time to do this. I'm in suspense trying to find out what the jumping time is. There we go. So yeah, back hard punch to get the anti-air. So when you're... Mika wants to be about there when she's jumping, but your opponent wants to be kind of like here to kind of give them time to assess and answer accordingly to Mika's jump-ins. Obviously, you saw the first time when I tried to jump when Mika was in a range that she's comfortable at, she can basically jump in, and if I go for the DP answer, it whiffs and she can get a crush cap or she can dash up and get a throw or something. So learning the ranges of where to jump in with Mika, it's very important. I'd say it's one of the paramount things. It's because it's one of her strengths. Like I said, you definitely want to exemplify your character's strengths in fighting games. Like I said, the ranges I showed you for jump hard punch, jump light kick, and jump hard kick, they're universal ranges, but your opponent's answers differ because they're different characters, and the spacing will always be adjusted. It will constantly be adjusting because everyone's moving. No one's sitting still. So definitely keep that in mind. So yeah, that's going to be another short section there, basically going over the ranges of where to jump in at. So we're going to kind of summarize it here and put the information on screen to make it easy to remember, because remember, I'm just babbling on and just pouring out the information from my head. Not scripted. I've only got a list of things I should talk about. I just improvise the whole way through. Alright, so let's put the stuff on screen right now. So the ranges to jump in at on your opponents for Rainbow Mika. So to land or successfully land jump hard punch or jump light kick as a cross up, or maybe even in front, it's entirely up to you how you do it. You want to be at a relatively close range. You really want to be mathematical about this. I'd say it's like a meter apart, but we're not here to do the numbers. There's enough numbers in this game already. So you want to be relatively close to land the jump hard punch or the jump light kick cross up. You can jump from a further, if you want to use jump hard kick, you can do it from a further distance out, and you can get a hit. Your follow-ups won't be as strong. And also remember, when you land the jump and attack, your follow-ups do differ. If we're talking about optimal damage here, lights are different to mediums as opposed to heavies. Remember, Mika, here's something that you should know as well. Mika has no good jump in medium attacks. If you're talking about air to airs and how you can use them in the air, that's good. But if you're talking about jumping in on the opponent, her jumping medium sucks. So we're going to leave that there as a little fun fact for you guys, because you seldom see those buttons used in terms of jumping in on the opponent. So yeah, that's going to be it for that section. Again, I've condensed this down a lot, and there's probably a lot of things I have missed out, which again I'm going to be apologizing quite a bit throughout this video, because I know there's a lot of people watching and they learn quite a bit from me, or they're looking at me as their guru, or their oracle, their Mika oracle, their lord and savior of this character, the 7-colored bomber. But alright, so that's going to cover section 2, what ranges to jump in at. Now we're going to be moving over to section 3, which is another basic one. Hopefully won't take too long with this, and we're going to be using Rainbow Mika for this one round, and we're going to put Akuma as a CPU. But it's going to be going over common block strings and frame traps. We've gone over this before, but we're going to keep it succinct and try and move swiftly through it. So guys, don't go anywhere. Let's move on to section 3. Alright guys, let's move on to section 3, and let's try and swiftly go through this so we can move on to section 4. But yeah, we're going to be going over common block strings that Mika's going to be using. Not just against Akuma, but against all the characters in general, but obviously Akuma's the example. So let's dive straight into it. So Akuma has a 3-frame button, which is his stand light punch. Yes, it is stand light punch. That is 3 frames, and that's the fastest normal in Street Fighter, just in general. Now, Mika has, or should I say, every character has block strings that are tailored towards 3-frame button characters as opposed to 4-frame button characters. Now, one thing you need to remember, I think I've mentioned this before, I'll put this in the summary as well at the end, if I can remember, is if your frame trap or your block string works against 3 characters with a 3-frame button, that's a universal one, because it will work against any other button in the game if it's pressed in that particular situation. That's a very weird way of explaining it, but hopefully people understand that. I have a really weird way of explaining things. But since Akuma's got a 3-frame button, we can only do frame traps that will blow up 3-frame buttons if he wants to try and interrupt certain strings. So I've showed this before in the Understanding 50/50s and Mika's overall gameplay video. So the basic frame trap that Mika uses is stand light punch to stand medium punch. There's a 3-frame, is it 2-frame or 3-frame? There's a 3-frame gap in there, but because of the normal priority system in Street Fighter 5, that's basically what it is normal priority is the game prioritizes the stronger normal in particular situations. So a medium button will beat out a light attack, and a heavy button will beat out a medium attack, and I believe a special will beat out a heavy. I think that was part of it. I'm not too sure. Do not quote me on that last part. But like I said, stand light punch to stand medium punch, very common for Mika. You'll see this quite a bit. It's the basic trap or basic frame trap block string, because if Mika does this and Akuma blocks the whole thing, let me turn that off. No, sorry, guard all. Let me turn this off. So yeah, if Akuma does, or sorry, if Mika does this trap, I don't know why I keep messing it up. Yeah, so if she does stand light punch, stand medium punch, Mika's safe because stand medium punch is -2. She just can't apply pressure after that. That is when Akuma is entitled, or shall I say inclined, to press his stand light punch and then try and apply some pressure from there. But you'll definitely see this frame trap quite a bit. What you'll see against characters with a 4-frame button, it's not going to work. Actually, no, you know what? Let me turn that off. What you'll see against characters against a 4-frame button is Mika can do crouch light punch into stand medium punch. That's a more flexible block string / frame trap because there's a 4-frame gap and the medium punch will out prioritize the 4-frame buttons that those characters want to press. But against Akuma, it won't work because stand light punch will interrupt it in time, land counter hit, and you know, it will just interrupt and he can apply his pressure, get a decent conversion into a knockdown and generate some sort of Oki. But what you're definitely gonna notice is that frame trap will happen quite a bit against characters with the 3-frame button. So stand light punch into stand medium punch. Another frame trap you'll see, or block string you'll see, and again a very basic one because Mika is a grappling character. She can't do 4-button block strings like, you know, certain characters can, like Cammy, or maybe even 3-button ones like Karen in certain situations. Again, Cammy as well. I think Nakali can do it. No, I don't think Nakali can do it. I'm trying to remember who else can do it, but can't remember. But you'll see forward hard punch into stand medium punch from Mika as well. Again, that's very good. Oh, it's not very good. It's very basic because if the stand medium punch is blocked, you lose pressure, and you know the opponent is relatively far away from you. You're in jumping distance, so you're in some sort of striking distance, but you definitely got to be aware of that. And if you do have meter, you can follow up. So that's if Akuma tries to interrupt with the button. He can interrupt with his invincible reversal, but it's not a wise thing. So we got stand light punch into stand medium punch. We got forward hard punch into stand medium punch. I believe there is a 3-frame gap in there as well, hence why is it a 3-frame gap or 2-frame? I think it's 2-frame. 2 or 3 frames. But that's why the stand medium punch is countering his stand light punch. So again, another basic one. And the reason these are basic frame traps is because Mika has command grabs, so she can mix in the command grabs with, you know, any of these things and make it a deadly situation for any opponent. This is why I put it in made a dedicated video to 50/50s as a whole. Also, what you're gonna see as well, I should have picked a 4-frame button character, but Akuma was the best example for this. Crouch light punch, crouch light kick into crouch jab. That's another one. Actually, no, I think it does work against Akuma. Yeah, okay, you can do this one, and then you can convert it. That's a very quick and short one. 2 buttons when it comes out. And if the stand light punch does connect, you can convert if you have 1 bar. That's 182 damage, so that's not bad. So all of Mika's block strings and frame traps are very simple, only because she can mix in a command grab in there. So I don't think she can do it there though. Like if the opponent, let's say in our case Akuma again, if he does the 3-frame button reversal timing, then you won't catch him off guard with certain attacks. So, sorry, certain grabs maybe. That's what I should have said. But yeah, I think that's gonna cover that there. I'm not sure if there's any other frame traps you guys need to know, because these are very basic ones. I'm just going over basic things and you guys can work from there. But I pretty much showed you the ones you need to look out for. I'm not really going to go over meaty ones because that kind of changes the dynamic in certain situations and not everyone's at that level yet, so I just want to show you basic ones. One thing I should remember to mention is crouch light kick is +1 on block, and crouch light punch is a 3-frame button, but it turns into a 2-frame button, which is why it beats that in that situation. And someone has invited me to play Street Fighter, and he's gonna have to wait because I'm doing this video for you guys. You know what I should have done? I probably should have put the frame data up for some of these things, but nah, we'll leave it like that. So That's going to cover that situation there, or this section, shall I say. Common block strings. We'll put them up on screen now. So the common block strings that you're going to be looking into, so the ones you have to memorize that you're going to be doing in matchups. These are universal ones, by the way. Stand light punch into stand medium punch. We've got forward hard punch into stand medium punch, and we got crouch light kick into crouch jab. Those are basic ones, and you can kind of work from there. Also, what you have to remember is this is a universal thing, but I'll put it here anyway. There are different frame traps or different block strings. There's one specific towards 4-frame button characters as opposed to 3-frame ones. 3 characters with a 3-frame button. I'm definitely gonna have to rephrase this because what is coming out of my mouth is complete, absolute, utter gibberish. But hopefully you get the idea. Also, Mika's block strings are limited only because she's a grappler, so she can mix in a grab, and a very strong one at that, into these strings, which that's what adds the fear factor to her gameplay. That's why you don't see her applying pressure with like a multitude of buttons. Like I said before, Cammy, because she's a perfect example, because Cammy doesn't have a command throw, Mika does. So definitely remember that Mika's frame traps or block strings are limited. Okay, so that's gonna go over that section. Again, another short one because I can just whiz through these because I don't want to go too intricate. I'm gonna keep reciting the same lines, but I want to make sure that the point is in people's heads and they can thoroughly understand what it is I'm trying to convey here, because obviously my mouth is saying something completely different to what I'm thinking about. So I do apologize about that. Yeah, that's gonna be 3 sections covered, and now we're gonna go over to something a little bit more interesting. We're gonna be looking at optimal. I'm gonna call it optimal crush count of follow-ups, but we're gonna tailor it towards Akuma's DP. So guys, let me sort something out again, and we're gonna be moving on to section 4. So let's get on with it. Alright guys, we're back, and we're going to be moving on to section 4, which is optimal crush count of follow-ups, or punishes, should I say. I want to call it optimal punishes for invincible reversals. I'll call it something fancy. But we're going to be looking at how to punish Akuma's reversal, but like I said before, punishes differ from character to character depending on how they land, where they end up for, you know, after Mika blocks their invincible reversal. But yeah, let's move on to how we're doing this. Okay, so I've got Akuma to do his EX Shoryuken. So that is Akuma's invincible reversal, and this is probably one of the more easier ones to punish in the game. And trust me, I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot of these max damage punish challenge online, or these combo videos, or something silly against or how to properly punish, severely punish Akuma for doing an EX Shoryuken. And trust me, the consequences are dire if this whiffs or it is blocked, because Akuma hasn't got the vitality to be playing around like this, so he has to be very careful of when he does do this. Okay, so we're gonna knock him down, and one of the things I like to do is I try to find what's the best way to start the punish on an invincible reversal, because some punishes start with a charge drop kick, and other punishes start with a forward fist. Some of them don't even need that. Some of them start with a, you know, stand fist cancel into V trigger. So optimal starters are all different, and I urge people to look into that properly, because when your opponents do these invincible reversals, you want to try and get the maximum damage you can from that situation, which is why everyone kind of puts emphasis on optimal punishes. What's the optimal route I can get from this? And in our situation here, Mika can do a charge dropkick. So let's get into it. Enough blabbling. So I'm going to knock him down, and he's going to do EXDP, and we're going to charge dropkick, and we get the crush counter there. So that's a basic punish. That's not optimal. I'm going to see if I can do it here. Hopefully I can do it within 3 or 4 tries. That's 316 damage. Let's try and do it again. Let's try and get the optimal punish here. Dropkick. 1, 2, 3. Okay, no, it dropped. So let's try it again. Alright, 1. There we go. Alright, so that was 345 damage after like a billion tries. But hopefully you get the idea. That is Mika's optimal meterless punish against Akuma's DP. So that's one of the 3 things you must remember when trying to punish Akuma's DP. So you have to have an optimal meterless punish. You're gonna need to have an optimal 1 bar punish as well, which this might take a while, but I'm gonna try and do this again. There we go, lovely. So we got 363 damage, and that was using 1 bar. So that's another thing I note down: a meterless punish, a 1 bar punish, and then the other thing I tried to note down is a V trigger punish. So let's go and see how much damage you can do if we implement V trigger into this situation. So knock down again, and then charge drop kick, and then we cancel into V trigger. And then, well, when we get that right, don't know why we can't get this right. There we go. And then, there we go. And then we done 444 damage there on his EXDP using V-Trigger. But as you can see, the outcome or the punish all start the same way. Charge, drop kick. And that's a crush counter. You can go for a jump in and change your punish a bit. But it'll be a lot less. It'll be 304 damage as opposed to 345 as we done for a meterless one. So you can definitely mess around with something. You can even, if you want to really fancy, you can do I believe this is it. Yeah, you can do something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but you can do something like that. But yeah, the optimal starting route for punishing Akuma's EXDP is by charging dropkick, and depending on your resources, everything will change. If you do not, actually, no, if you don't have V-Trigger, you'd still start with a charge dropkick anyway. But what you must remember, I'm not sure if I have it recorded, because someone's probably going to ask, it's like, oh, Jammers, no? Okay, yeah. So Jammers, what if Akuma does EXDP into V-Trigger? Like, if he cancels? Well, that's where it gets a little bit different, because this will lessen the blow, but you can still punish Akuma, because that is -5. So you can't charge dropkick against that, but you can definitely get a basic punish. So you definitely have to keep that in mind. So if Akuma does EXDP into V-Trigger, he's -5 on block, so your optimal starter should start with stand medium punch, and then you go into stand fist, and then you do whatever you want. So that's another thing, and this is probably one of the easier things to punish when looking into particular matchups. Oh, sorry. Let's see if we do it again. There we go. And then you cancel that, and then you go into wingless airplane. That's 384 damage, so that's not too bad. So that's gonna cover that. Also, what you got to remember as well is if Akuma is in V-Trigger, because this is more specific thing to Akuma. So if Akuma's in V-Trigger, his punish is gonna be a little bit different, because he ends up on the other side of you, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Yes, he does. So he ends up on the other side. So your punish changes, because you can't charge dropkick, because he'll end up on the other side. Yeah, it'll be too late. So your punish changes to forward fist, and then you kind of gotta change your punish around that. But this is why I say people gotta look into it, because I'd say it's a basic thing, and it's an important thing to look in the matchup as well. But yeah, definitely get that down. So that's going to cover this section here on how to punish invincible reversals properly, aka, you know, finding that optimal route, because they all change, or they differ from character to character. But yeah, so let's summarize what it is you need to remember in terms of punishing invincible reversals properly. So one thing you need to remember is find the optimal route. It's going to be between crush counter forward fist, crush counter charge dropkick, or even counter hit stand hard punch. Those are the 3 common buttons you're going to be using in terms of trying to punish an invincible reversal. Also, look at each of the optimal routes, find one that's meterless, find one that's 1 bar, and try to find one that's with V-trigger usage. Obviously there's a lot more and it goes a bit more in depth, but those 3 are the basic ones I go by, and then we work from there. Also, not everybody has an invincible reversal, so if you do end up landing these crush counter buttons, try to find the optimal follow-up. But this was just specifically tailored towards invincible reversals. So hopefully that makes sense for everybody. Nice and basic, and I believe that's an easy one. That's probably someone's looking at this and they're still watching the videos like, oh, I can't understand this, I can't do that. Well, hopefully this has been easy. And obviously if your character is unique like Akuma, and they've got other, you know, V-trigger DPs, or they can cancel their DP into a V-trigger, there's different ways to punish them, but it's something you definitely have to know and be very attentive towards. Alright, so we're going to close off that section there. Damn, we've been recording for 40 minutes and we're not even halfway through this bloody thing. Jesus, this is going to be a long video here. Alright, so we're going to close off this section here, section 4. Hopefully it makes sense to people. Again, if you've got any questions, let me know in the comment section below. But let us scurry on and move on to section 5. This one should be relatively quick. Alright guys, we are back and we're going to be moving on to section 5, which again, I've showcased this or illustrated this situation in the past numerous times, and we're going to be reciting this again, but I needed to put it as part of the matchup outline guide because this is probably going to be a video that people jump on now and they haven't watched the impromptu guide. So let's make this as quick and succinct as possible for the people that have seen it, which is post EX Brimstone Situations. Now this situation is important because EX Brimstone, it generates a hard knockdown for R.Mika and she gets a guaranteed setup. That's pretty much the bulk of it there. Now the guaranteed setup depends on she'll either get a meaty button or a meaty grab. Now we've looked at her offensive options, but we're going to be looking at the recipient's options in terms what I mean by that is we're going to be looking at the victim, in our case Akuma. What are his defensive options in the situation? So what can he do to try and get himself out of this? He can't 100% guarantee himself an escape, but he can definitely try a valiant effort, shall we say. So I've got, I think it's this recording here. Okay, EX Brimstone. Okay, now that grab there, that was a meaty grab. So if Mika lands at EX Brimstone, one option Akuma can do to avoid it is EXDP. And we know that. EXDP, invincible reversal. That's what Mika has to take into consideration. What if Akuma wakes up and does EXDP? Because if it does hit, it's 160 damage. But if Akuma has V-trigger on deck, we could do a little bit more damage. Let's see if I can get the combo. Yeah, we can turn that from defense into offense. We done 278 damage and we guarantee ourselves a meaty situation, or Akuma guarantees himself a meaty situation. So we do it again. Cancel. So we do something like that. So now, if you taken that option into consideration on Mika's end, so now let's see. I'm gonna do EX Brimstone again, but what if Mika's considerate and she blocks it and Akuma still goes for it? Oh, sorry. And Akuma still goes for it. You know? Because this is a very important thing to consider. Do EXDP is blocks, and I just showed you how to punish EXDP in the last section, which is why it's imperative to know that, because this situation might crop up. Okay, so if that's blocked, what if Akuma does EXDP into V-trigger? You see what I mean? You have to know the post EX Brimstone situations, and this thing happens thick and fast. Mika has to think about all these situations while the animation is going on. She's got to know the proper punish, or how to punish accordingly. Also, if she's scared of the EXDP, doesn't want to do anything, what if Akuma does wake up jab into V-trigger? That is an option, but it should be covered. And then we can apply pressure like that. That should be covered, but then this is why you got to be wary between the V-trigger, the jab into V-trigger or EXDP into V-trigger. When Akuma has V-trigger available, he's got a lot more options on deck. Heck, what if he's in V-trigger already? His only option would be, I believe it would only be, V-trigger DP, and he'd side switch, so your punish changes. You do less damage than what you intended to do. Heck, what if Akuma does, let's see, you can do wake up teleport. Are you ready for that? That's why the meaty throw covers it. You see what I mean? There's nothing 100% guaranteed. You've got to mix and match your options, and you can definitely escape from certain things. This is why I say with post EX Brimstone Situations, some characters have less, or regarding Mika, some options, or sorry, her opponent's options, some have less to worry about than others. So Akuma, I've just showed you about 3 or 4, maybe 5 options. Maybe someone against like Karen, or maybe Cammy, there's only 2 options: wake up button or wake up DP. Those are the only ones you have to be fearful of. What if they've got a throw invincible move? Let's see if we can put this back on. And then, because we're going to go for the meaty throw. But then what if we do, well, when it comes out, what if we do Akuma's light DP? That's throw invincible. So you can definitely take that into consideration and get out of that situation. But then that means you have to be wary of what if Mika does a meaty button. This is what I mean by this whole situation is a whole 50-50 thing. But this is an advantageous situation for him and Mika. It's not one for Akuma. It's only advantageous if Akuma guesses correctly and has the right resources to kind of capitalize from that. That's what's very weird. So, yeah, we're going to close that out there because it was only to focus on what the defender can do post EX Brimstone, the animation, of course. And I tried to show you an abundance of options there with Akuma. So hopefully people understand how that works. Sorry, how that works from a defensive perspective. But yeah, let's summarize post EX Brimstone Situations. Okay, so first thing is know your options offensively, and what I mean by that is know Mika's offensive options post EX Brimstone. I've shown this countless times in the past. I'm pretty sure some subscribers can tell you, or people you talk to that play Mika can tell you. I've shown it in the past. Go check out previous videos I've done in the impromptu Mika guide. They'll be there. Also, this is for opponents, or sorry, this is for Mika as well. Know your opponent's defensive options, because some will have more than others, some are more potent than others, and you've got to take into consideration their resources at hand as well. Definitely a lot to consider, but these are all options. Oh, sorry, let me put this down here as well. These are all options excluding critical art, because critical art again is a fully invincible reversal. They can be punished. Obviously, the punish differs as well, and they cost all bars, but you won't get a crush counter. So I'm going to put that there as well. I always do these situations excluding critical art, because critical arts do over 300 damage, and they cost all resources, and that can put Mika in a perilous situation depending on what the critical art was. So yeah, that's going to cover post EX Brimstone Situations. Again, try to keep it short and sweet, because we've done this numerous times in the past before, and I don't want to make it an elongated section. But let's close out this one, and we're going to move on to the next section here, which is going to be EX Shooting Peach Utility. So guys, give me a moment, and we'll move on to clotheslining, lariating people. Let's go. Alright guys, we're back, and we're going to be moving on to the EX Shooting Peach Utility section. Right, stick is working, we are all good. So yeah, this one I'll try to keep it short and sweet as well, just like the previous section. I've gone over the utility behind the move in general and when and where to use it, but again, like I've been doing throughout this entire video, try to tailor it towards a specific matchup to kind of give you an idea of where you might want to use it or where you possibly will use it. So there's numerous ways you can use EX Shooting Peach. One as a reversal punish. You can use it to interrupt strings. You can use it as an anti-air as well, but I'm not going to show that in this situation. But it's going to be limited here. Sorry. My throat's been like crazy these past couple of days, so apologies for all the coughing throughout this video. I couldn't find any other time to do it, but I do apologize. It's very rude of me. But yeah, you can use EX Peach to A. I'd say let's use the examples I know it for in this matchup. So Akuma's stand hard punch, when you do it at max distance, it is -5, or sorry, it's -5 on block in general. So if I do that, you can punish it. EX Peach guaranteed. If Akuma does it at max distance, you can't punish it with a button, but EX Peach, since its range and its startup is its range is really good and its startup is 5 frames, you can punish a max distance stand hard punch. So that's one area you can use EX Shooting Peach to kind of punish max distance, or normals done at max distance sort of thing. In our case, Akuma's stand hard punch. Also, if Akuma does in this situation, if he does low forward fireball, damn it, I should have done it from the other way because it won't work from this one. Okay, So I'll probably have to switch over so you can see it. Another thing you can do is Akuma likes to do this common string. I showed it before at the start, but I didn't really explain it. Akuma likes to do this common string of crouch medium punch, and then stand medium punch. Only because crouch medium punch is +3 on block. So you can do it twice and then you can link something afterwards. Which that's a pretty powerful string if you ask me on block. Because I put Mika on doing a reversal crouch jab and it's getting blown up. Now, if I do EX Shooting Peach, it will get interrupted. EX Shooting Peach will interrupt the string and it will blow through and it will damage Akuma. Obviously, I take a bit of grey health, but I interrupt it. Only because there's a 3-frame gap in the string. Because Mika's EX Shooting Peach, the armor doesn't activate until the 3rd frame. So, obviously the move starts up in 5 frames, but during the active frames, it doesn't come out till the 3rd frame, not the first one. It's not like Birdie's one, so hopefully that makes sense. So that's why it's very good for interrupting certain strings. Now, if Akuma is aware of this, he can change it. And then, you know, cancel and do something. Because if he makes sure that the strings he's doing, if he makes sure there's not a 3-frame gap, because like I said, Mika needs, EX Shooting Peach needs a 3-frame gap for it to work against her block strings frame trap. If Akuma doesn't leave that gap there, then it's irrelevant. Or if Akuma goes for a throw, let's see if I can do this right. Yeah, if Akuma goes for a throw, then it's irrelevant. So definitely be aware of that. It's a huge risk, but trust me, the reward is it gets you out of perilous situations. And try to change the tide about, or at least reset the situation to neutral so you can think about how you're going to approach your opponent next. Now, one last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch characters real quick and then show you this one last thing, and then we will probably move on to the next section here. So give me 1 second, guys. Alright guys, we're back. Apologies about that, but yeah, let's jump straight into this. So another area you can use, let's put this on, another area you can use EX Shooting Peach is if Akuma does low forward into fireball at the wrong range. If he doesn't space himself correctly, then there you go. So if he doesn't space himself correctly when trying to do maybe a button into a fireball, you can use EX Shooting Peach to punish the fireball, because I believe most fireballs in this game are at least like -5, or no, at least -4 on block. If they're done at a relatively far distance or max distance, then you can't punish them. So definitely plays the fireball, or you know, other means, normal, specials, whatever. If they're not careful where they space them, EX Shooting Peach can punish them. You can also use EX Shooting Peach to punish max distance sweeps from Karen or Birdie, but I didn't pick those two for matchups because they didn't really fit all the criterias in that situation. So yeah, you can also use, sorry, let's see if I can get him to do this. Alright, yeah, let's do that. Okay. So you can also use EX Shooting Peach maybe to punish an active normal, a heavy attack. It depends on what it is, and you need to space yourself correctly depending on what it is, but you can catch certain attacks if they're trying to catch you. If because look, crush counter normals are going to be thrown out in neutral quite a bit in Street Fighter 5, and if you're not in a range to use a normal to punish it, or you don't want to be beaten by the priority system and get crush countered, you can use EX Shooting Peach to whiff punish certain normals. It can be used as a really strong whiff punishing tool. It's 1 bar, you have to remember that, but I'd say it's useful in certain situations, and it's something I've been trying to implement in my gameplay recently. It's a risk, like I said, because EX Shooting Peach is -10 on block, but the reward, not so great, but again, get a little bit of damage, you can reset the situation to neutral. So yeah, that's going to cover the points of EX Shooting Peach. So hopefully that can help people out, or try to utilize that move a little bit more. So let's summarize on screen what you can use. Again, it's going to be something just regular. So you can use it to punish moves that are -5 on block or more. You can use it to punish moves that are done, if they're unsafe moves that are done at a max distance, you can definitely use EX Shooting Peach to catch them off guard there. You can use EX Shooting Peach to interrupt certain strings, or block strings. They must have a 3-frame gap or more in them for it to work, for the armor to kick in and save you. Obviously, if the gap is a 2-frame gap or 1-frame gap, it's irrelevant, or if it gets thrown, it's irrelevant. Pretty sure I've explained that in the past, but it doesn't hurt to recite and reiterate the same lines. You could also use it, and this is something I've been doing recently, you can use it to punish unsafe fireballs. I did forget that part as well. It's part of a string, I guess, but we'll put it there. Unsafe fireballs. That's down to the opponent spacing themselves or whatever, normal, special, whatever it is. And one thing, like I said, I've been trying to implement recently is whiff punishing certain normals. Instant example, you know, the crush counter normals, the heavy attacks, because they're the ones that are going to be thrown out of neutral quite a bit, because crush counters are applied to only heavy attack buttons. So yeah, hopefully EX Shooting Peach utility is something I can see a little bit more from, you know, the Mika players or people that are trying to fight against Mika. They can understand it a little bit better, where it can be used, and try to understand it, because like I said, everything has a purpose in these fighting games. You just have to find the correct one and try to optimize it as best as you can. Alright, so let's hurry on, because I've been recording for quite some time and this is going to be a mad long video to edit. But we're going to be moving on to guaranteed V-Reveresal spots. It's a bit of an interesting one. I've tried to implore this in the past, but let's jump over to the section and let's delve into what I mean. Alright guys, we are back with another section, moving on to guaranteed V-Reveresal spots for Rainbow Mika, using Akuma as the prime example here. But like I said, all these sections I've done, I'm going to keep repeating the same lines. All these sections I've done, they're not applying just to Akuma. These are all things you should be doing universally, but you get disconnected from game servers. Give me 1 second. Alright, sorry about that, folks. Street Fighter 5 decided to disconnect me because it said you've been recording for too long. But let's get back to what I was saying. So yeah, guaranteed V-Reversal spots in Street Fighter 5. So what I mean by that is, you're going to be V-Reversaling quite a bit in this game anyway. And there's going to be times where your opponent can block your V-Reversal regardless of the attempt. But in my defensive guide, my impromptu guide part 5 to Mika's defensive options, I said getting your V-Reversal blocked is not so bad, mainly with Mika. For other characters it's a bit different, but Mika's alright. But you're going to be V-Reversing quite a bit, but there's going to be situations where you can V-Reversal, the opponent's at frame advantage, and when you do a V-Reversal, it will guarantee the hit. And I'm going to show some examples here. These are just 3 basic ones of the Akuma, but hopefully you'll get the idea, because sometimes you'll be in a bit of a pickle, or you'll be very nervous or panicky, and you just want a V-Reversal to get put out of the situation. So first one we've got on deck, is Crouch Hard Punch. That V-Reversal should work. Obviously the CPU is very bad at doing it. I'm going to try and get it to V-Reversal as early as can be. Let's try that. Thought I'd done this beforehand, but clearly I didn't. So when you do a V-Reversal, there we go. If you do a V-Reversal in a certain amount of time, then you'll catch the recovery frames of the Crouch Hard Punch of Akuma's, and you'll guarantee the hit. So that's one area you can do it. You can also do it in Forward Hard Punch as well. You can catch that. I know that's +1, but some people do get a bit panicky and they want a V-Reversal and get out, so that you can guarantee yourself a hit here. Also, you can do it, what was the other one? Demon Flip. That's +2, yeah. The Demon Flip with no follow-up. The Trip Up, I can't even remember what it's called, I have to double check. But that's +2 on block, and Akuma can press a button, or you can press stand medium kick, or I think stand jab into crouch medium punch afterwards. You can do some sort of pressure afterwards. If you don't want to deal with that situation, you V-reverse it to prevent it from happening. So there's some very basic things there. You know, sometimes you'll try to V-Reversal a crouch medium punch, but Akuma can block in time. Like I said, it's not too bad because the space that's generated is pretty good. You won't guarantee a hit. The space is pretty good. You can get him off. It does cost 1 bar as well. You have to remember V-Reversals do cost 1 bar in this game. And Mika's one inflicts 60 damage of grey health. I think everyone's does that actually. I don't think it ever differed. So I don't know why I mentioned that. But getting yourself or looking into guaranteed V-Reversal spots against each character in the game, I think it's a big deal because if you understand what they can get in terms of a follow-up from whatever button they try to get frame advantage from, a V-Reversal can prevent that situation. Hence why it's called a defensive mechanic in Street Fighter 5. So like I said, with this example here, you got Akuma's Crouch Hard Punch. You've got Akuma's Forward Hard Punch, and you've got Akuma's Demon Flip, the EX version, into no follow-up, which is +2 on block. So yeah, very short. Try to keep it sweet despite getting disconnected from the servers. But yeah, let's try and summarize what this section went over here. So when you're looking in terms of in regards to V-reversaling your opponent, try to find areas where you're guaranteed the V-reversal to hit. That's what I wanted to say as well. You want to do this to kind of not allow your opponent to have the frame advantage they deserve, as well as preventing the situation that happens after that. If it makes sense, whether it's pressure, a combo, or maybe even a bait. You have to remember V-reversals are susceptible to throws, so you could get baited pretty hard, so be careful about that. Obviously as well, if Mika's V-reversal is blocked, it's not so bad. You just have to find the common areas where you can V-reversal. What buttons? They're going to be usually applied to heavy buttons, but you just want to find out where you can get a guaranteed V-reversal. There's probably a lot of things. I'm probably going to include something else if I can't remember it, because off the top of my head it probably escapes me now, but I'll remember to put it in this section here below, or the summary I should say. But yeah, that's going to be it for guaranteed V-reversal spots. Like I said, these are all little things I've kind of noted down over time, kind of put them in a little notepad that I can refer to when I'm studying new matchups for Mika in Street Fighter 5. But let us move on to the next section, which is yeah, we're gonna go into anti-V-reversal tech. I mentioned it at the start, I was thinking about cutting it, but no, we're gonna go over it. So let's move on to the next section. Alright guys, and we're going to be moving on now to the anti-V-reversal tech situation. I swear these sections keep getting shorter and shorter, probably just because I've been recording for quite a long time and trying to shorten these down as much as possible. Enough of this elongating blabbering. Alright, so anti-V-reversal tech. I'm going to be using the Akuma example again, because I actually just posted a video a couple days ago showing it, but YouTube decided to cut off most of it, or just the end of it anyway. I showed the bulk of it anyway, but what I mean by anti-V-reversal tech situation. So there's common in Street Fighter 5. Every character has a few common ways they like to activate V-trigger, and I tend to note them down, and maybe other opponents do, maybe they don't. But you definitely have to note down your main character's way of activating V-trigger. So let me take this off first. So one of the ways Mika likes to activate V-trigger, always common, you always see it, crouch fierce into V-trigger. So you'll see that. Another way they'll do it, possibly, you'll seldom see it, stand medium punch into V-trigger. Another way you'll see is crouch medium kick into V-trigger. So those are the common ways she'll like to do it. Sometimes she'll just do it raw and then try to get a grab, or maybe she'll do forward fierce into V-trigger, try to get a grab for an unblockable. So you get the idea. Everyone has common ways they like to activate V-trigger, but for the most part, and for this part importantly, or mostly sorry, we're going to be looking at crouch fierce into V-trigger, as that's Mika's most common and most potent way of activating V-trigger, in my opinion anyway. Now what a lot of people like to do, I've shown this in the past quite a bit, but we're going to again use a specific example here. What people like to do is they like to V-reversal it, they want to avoid Mika and they want to avoid Nadeshiko. So let's just go straight into it. So if the opponent V-reversals early, or if they V-reversal in general, one of the things you can do, because you have to understand how their V-reversal works, and you have to understand how you can counter it, or try to find the correct countermeasures. Sorry. So if the opponent V-reversals, one of your options is to grab, because like I said in the previous section, V-reversals are susceptible to grabs, so that's guaranteed. Another thing you can do, and each character, or Mika has a specific, I believe she has a specific follow-up against each character, because since the animations and the hitbox are different, she can the follow-up differs, and so she can get more damage against one character as opposed to another character where she would probably get less damage, but she can avoid the V-reversal. I think there's 3 V-reversals she can't avoid, which is Zangief, Ken, and Chun-Li. Don't quote me on that, I'd have to double check. But so with Akuma, we're going to show this again. I showed this in the video. I'll put the link in the description below, but we're just going to show it here quickly, and then we're going to move on. So if Akuma does his V-reversal, you can low profile it with crouch medium kick, and then you can dash up and get some damage. Sorry, let's try that again. Crouch medium kick, dash up, and you can get some damage. You can get like 300 damage, 200 to 300 damage, which is not bad. Another thing which I found in my video, which is more specific, is you can jump over Akuma and get it. So each character has, you just have to experiment, because each character you can get a different follow-up on, and you can get some decent damage there. Sorry. But this is why I noted this down as a common thing, because I guess a better way of noting it down would be, how do opponents react to crouch hard punch into V trigger, hence why I call it anti V-Reveresal tech. The opponents can also do, I don't know why that's not, is that, let me double check something real quick. That's the jab. Nah, okay, I reckon, let's turn that on. I need to get that reversal timing. Alright, there we go. So, after like 4 billion tries. Right. Okay, there we go. So, if I've done V-trigger DP, sorry. If I don't crouch hard punch into V-trigger, I wanted to go for a throw, that'd be irrelevant. So, you kind of have to look into all the options your opponent has when this situation occurs. Because if you don't, you could get in trouble. So, it's definitely one thing you need to pay attention towards. Because it's going to be happening. And this is why I picked Akuma. Yeah, this is why I picked Akuma. It's because he has an invincible reversal. So that's another factor you have to take into account. So yeah, we're gonna leave that there because I'm trying to make haste with this because I'm running out of time because I actually have to go somewhere. But yeah, let's try and summarize the anti-V-Reveresal tech part. So obviously, the one thing you want to do is note down the common ways that Mika likes to activate V-trigger, what situations does he like to activate from, or where she just likes to activate in general. How does the opponent like to, or what are the opponent's options to try and counter this? Is it an invincible reversal? Is it V-Reversal? Is it critical art? Like what? If it is a V-Reversal, how can you counter it? Can you avoid it? Can you grab it? Well, obviously you can grab it, but excluding 3 characters, but how do you find countermeasures towards that as well? And also take into account other options that can kind of blow up this favorable situation for R.Mika. Alright, so hopefully that makes sense for everybody. When I type this on the screen, it will make a lot more sense than what I'm spouting out my mouth. But yeah, let's hurry on and move on to the next section. This is going to be a little bit more enjoyable. But yeah, let's get on with it, and I'll be back to you shortly, guys. Alright, and we are back, and we are actually coming near the end of this video. Yes! Thank you, because I'm running out of time. But, okay, enough about that. Let's move on with this. So the next section, the second last one for this matchup outline guide for Rainbow Mika. And this is something that requires a little bit more work, because you have to know the opposing character as opposed to what Mika can do. Oh, you should already know what Mika can do by now, because we're like a year and like 8 months into the game, so should be alright, but obviously new players won't. New players to Mika, of course. But the thing I noted down at the start of the video, is we're going to refer to it right now. How to deal with the basic things, or how to deal with basic things Mika does from the opponent's perspective. So we're going to delve into that more here. So the first thing I've got noted down is, how does the opponent deal with dropkick? And if they don't deal with dropkick, can they punish the target combo afterwards? So let's go with this step by step. I'll go through this, sorry. So we've got Mika to do dropkick into, yes, we've got Mika to do that. So now, what I mean by this is, how do you do a dropkick? So how does Akuma react to it before it comes out? One way is not by doing that. One way is crouch hard punch, and that hits crush counter. So does Akuma get a follow-up from that? I'm not too sure. We'd have to find out. Let's see, because when it connects to the crush counter, I believe you can only do something like that. I think that works. Yeah. Oh no, maybe it doesn't. Okay. So one of the options you have is crush counter hard punch, but it seems you can't get anything from it unless you have V trigger. Because I'm guessing. Okay, not even that. Okay, so one of the options you have against that is crush counter hard punch, but seems you don't get anything from it. But I keep flopping the time. There you go. Another way that Akuma can deal with this is he can use his V skill and then get a full combo. There we go. So he can get a full combo there by using his V skill to parry and then get some sort of follow-up afterwards. He can also do back hard punch. Yes, he can indeed. And when I cancel it, because I'm not cancelling it. There we go. So Akuma has quite a bit of options that you can use to deal with it. You can use DP as well. Heck, you can even do stand jab, use it as a deterrent to stop the Mika player from doing it. So this is what I mean by dealing with. That's what I mean by dealing with the dropkick. Know all the options that your opponent can do, and you can't really know this unless you face a decent opponent using their respective character. So whether it be Akuma, Bison, Birdie, Karen, you have to know someone who's practiced dealing against it to kind of note down what it is that you should be looking for when you go for the dropkick. And you should be thinking about, do they know that? If they don't, keep running the flowchart. If they do, be careful. Because I showed you 4 options there, and they're very powerful options. The other thing you need to remember is, if the opponent doesn't deal with dropkick, if they block it, if you go for the target combo, do they know how to punish? Now, Akuma's punish, I believe, is, yes, it's stand medium kick into light tatsu. You should only be doing that. Unless you have V-Trigger. Okay, maybe I got that punish wrong, but they have to learn to punish the target combo because it's -5 on block. Now, you have to remember as well, not every character can punish it, because normals are very stubby in this game. So, if someone doesn't have a normal that they can use to punish this, or this target combo, then we can get away with it for free. And I'm not punishing this properly. There we go. Well, I've done that wrong completely. There we go. So you can get something. So Akuma gets decent options, or he's got decent options to punish or deal with dropkick as a whole. So that's one thing. Another thing is, let's see if I can get this recorded real quick. How does Akuma punish dive bomb? So if you go to, so when I was saying before, because one thing I didn't mention when jumping in, because it was different ranges, of course, is when you jump in, if your opponent knows how to anti-air, so Akuma's got back hard punch, or he's got, you know, DP, whatever, or he can do super if he wants. But if Mika sees that, she can change her jump arc and, you know, land the dive bomb, then get a post meet yourself afterwards. However, if Akuma does block the dive bomb, what's his punish? Because remember, dive bomb is -6 on block, so Akuma has to know the punish. If he doesn't know the punish, or he kind of sucks at doing it, then you can throw it 1 or 2. You can throw it out 1 or 2 more times, but it's not recommended. But you get the idea. 1, 2, 3, something like that. But you get the idea. Also, another thing is so that's dealing with dropkick and punishing the target combo afterwards. Punishing dive bomb. Remember, these are basic things. The other thing is EX shooting peach. Oh, no, sorry, not recording. God damn it. This is why things take forever, because I forget and do stupid stuff. Right. The other thing is, because I showed you how to use EX shooting peach before, but EX shooting peach is -10 on block. So if you do, sorry, if you do EX shooting peach and it is blocked, does the Akuma know how to punish it? And I believe Akuma's meterless punish is crouch fierce, stand medium kick into tatsu. I think that's right. I can't do it now because I'm really bad. There we go. So again, it's a basic punish. It's just part of, you know, the whole aspect of learning how to punish certain moves. And you got 245 damage from that with 444 stun. So that's not too bad. That's a basic punish. If you want to be a little more like intricate, elaborate on that. If you could do, yeah, you can do something like that. Yeah, you could do something like that. That could be like the worst punish, or sorry, the strongest punish, but the worst punish in Mika's case. So that's how to punish, sorry, EX shooting peach. Also, how do they commonly like to activate V-Trigger, which I've gone over that already, so I don't need to go over that section. No, is that part of it? I guess so, yeah. So, obviously, if you're the opposing character, you'd have to understand how Mika activates V-Trigger, but I've already gone over that part. And also, no. I think that's it for that section. Those are just, but remember, I'm just going over basic things here. I'm not going over every little intricate thing, because I don't want to make this like a 2-hour-long video, but it looks like it's going to be that. But hopefully, that makes sense to people. This is something I've noted down, because, like I said, when I'm studying matchups, I need to know what the opponent could potentially do in certain situations, just so I can make a mental note and be aware of it, so I can know the most dire consequences as opposed to what the actual player is going to do with that character. Do they know the optimal punish? Do they not? Or do they know how to comfortably deal with this situation? Do they not? So on and so forth. Okay, so yeah, let's summarize this section of, you know, how to deal with, you know, the basic things Mika does, you know, from the opponent's perspective. So it's basically knowing how to deal with dropkick before it connects, and do they know how to punish the target combo afterwards as they do block it. How to punish dive bomb, how to punish EX shooting peach, and obviously them making a mental note of how Mika knows how to activate V trigger. So in a way that's just knowing or learning their spacing against Rainbow Mika. That would be an interesting way to put it. So we might put it down like that. There's other things I've noted down as well, but they're more intricate things, but we won't put that in this video. Hopefully this video is decent length enough already. So yeah, that's going to cover this section, and we're going to be moving on to the last section, which is additional things. So this is going to be like a freestyle thing here. So I've got 1 or 2 things noted down, but we'll go into the next section and then we'll close out the video there. So you know what, let's move on. Alright guys, if you've stuck with me throughout this entire video, this lengthy video, then you are an absolute trooper and you definitely wanted to learn something. Hopefully people have learned something from this, how minute it may be, because I'm trying to help this community out here. But yeah, I've got this last section down. Don't worry guys, a couple more minutes to go. I've got this last section noted down as additional things, and this is basically where I just freestyle and try to showcase some things I actually know, which some of you may have seen this in the past, but we're gonna go over it right now. So one of the things I have, the reason I call it additional things is they're not vital notes that you must know like all the time. These are just things where it's like, oh, okay, this is a very situational thing. This can happen, but it's not a very common thing. The things I covered in the previous sections, those are more common than the additional things. So one of the things I got noted down, also I'm going to do off the top of my head, sorry, is, you know, the forward hard punch option select. This is an additional thing because it's not imperative that you learn this or know this. This is something that comes over time, develops as a player. So the forward hard punch option select goes like, you land the brimstone, then you go for a meaty forward fierce in the corner. That's a meaty forward fierce. But if Akuma goes for a teleport, you can option select the forward fierce with a brimstone, and you can grab it again. So that's just something that's specific things to specific matchups, and that's this is a specific thing to the Akuma matchup. I believe this is gonna happen against Fang as well, but you use a different grab. But this is a specific thing to this matchup, so that's why I'm saying I noted it down as an additional thing. It's not important, but it's just something that's fun to know. And obviously you go through the options of how to deal with it accordingly, so on and so forth, and you kind of just move on from there. I have done a video on this more specifically. I'll put the video link in the description below so you can look into it further, but I cover all the options and whatever, but so on and so forth. That's how it goes, etc, etc. Another thing I've noted down as well for this matchup, I've got like a lot more things noted down for this, but we're just gonna go over 1 or 2 things. Forward hard punch as well. If you see Akuma do forward hard punch and you kind of know he's gonna do it, or you're ready, you can press stand hard kick to go over this. Yeah, if you time it right, stand hard kick will go over it, and you'll get a free 90 damage. And you're +2 on hit, so you can go for a command grab or you can press the button afterwards. That's just something to the Akuma matchup, something you can note down. It's interesting. I do it sometimes. I don't do it all the time, but again, it's not so much a frivolous thing, but it's a fun fact to know. I think that's no. I've got one more thing to show you as well. I've got one more thing, and then we'll close it out. So 1, 2, 3. All right. So I've shown this before, this string, and if you get counter hit, then Akuma gets to do that. However, you can do if you want to interrupt this string by doing a command grab to kind of do the pushback tech. I'm not sure how many of you know about that. If you do, then you'll know the situation perfectly. But a command grab will make this string whiff, and then you can do, what can you do again? I forgot what you can actually do, but you can actually punish Akuma's suspected button because he won't be ready. But it's just a way to implement the pushback tech there. Like I said, I'm just doing this off the top of my head, so I can't actually remember Oh no, okay, that was bad. Trigger. There we go. With punish there, with forward stand fist into EX Shooting Peach. So yeah, you just get things like that. Just random things you can note down and learn over time and just go, oh yeah, this can happen in the matchup. It's not vital that I know this, but it can happen. And it's just a fun thing to jot down while taking your copious notes in the first place. So yeah, that's going to be it from your boy HD Jammers. Damn, that was a very long recording. This is going to be fun editing this. I'm doing the raw recording right now. But like I said, I probably said at some point in the video, my schedule's busy for the next probably week or two, and I couldn't really find time to do this, so I could only do it like today or tomorrow. But it doesn't help that I've got a bit of a sore throat and I'm coughing, so I do apologize about the coughing as well. I apologize about the coughing throughout this video. But yeah, we're gonna close out the section, or we're gonna just close out the video here because we're pretty much done. The information was a bit sporadic. I literally just opened up my brain, just poured a bunch of words and notes onto the table and just started blabbering on. So sorry. Hopefully you guys understood this video, and hopefully when you're looking into matchups, you can look into them a little bit more meticulously and have a better approach. Because remember, this is my perspective on how I look at matchups. This is just how I see things in the game. Like I said, this came over time. A lot of people urged me to do this before, but I turned them down because I said I'm not at a comfortable point in this game where I can study matchups or really understand how to delve into them. But at this point in time, I feel, nah, it's alright, and I've made enough notes to kind of make it into you know, a long video and get people to understand how I approach certain things or look at certain things. Like I said, I condensed this down quite a bit, and this is going to be like over an hour long anyway. This could have been like easily a 2 or 3 hour video going into proper you know, matchups and dissecting each situation. Even I'm not the perfect guy. I'm not the most perfect guy. I'm not even perfect, period. But hopefully this guide will help people, this matchup outline. So when you're next on the game in training mode, you can refer to this, or you can take your own notes. You can take notes from this and mix it with your own notes and then go, right, I can see it from a jammer's perspective, or I can see it from a higher level perspective. So hopefully I can understand these matchups easier, especially for the ones you're struggling in. Because like I said, we only used Akuma as an example. This video was not tailored towards Akuma was the example, but this video is not tailored towards Akuma as a whole. You can use these sections universally across the board against any character. It's just your results will differ. Some of them may be the same, but I guarantee you the results will differ. So like I said, I'll probably make a quick note of them again and what we went over. I'll probably even timestamp these in the actual description below. But you know, we went over what normals to look out for from the opponent. We went over what ranges to jump in at for R.Mika. We went over common block strings that R.Mika will do against the opponent. We went over against optimal, you know, invincible reversal punches, optimal crush counter punches, whatever. We went over post EX Brimstone situations. We went over EX Shooting Peach utility. We went over guaranteed V-Reveresal spots. We went over anti-V-Reversal tech, which is a very weird one. We went over how to deal with basic things Mika does from the opponent's perspective. Again, that was a weird one, but it kind of gives people the incentive to learn both characters or understand both characters in a particular matchup. And we also went freestyle, and we done additional things, which again is another freestyle thing, and it ended in a weird way. I didn't even summarize it, but I'm not really fussed. Alright, so that's going to be it from your boy HD Jammers. Like I said, hopefully this made sense, and hopefully people can go into training mode and they can go nuts and be more meticulous and go, hey Jammers, your video helped me out, and look what I found. I found something better than your dumbass. But I just wanted to, this is just my contribution to the Mika community, and hoping it helps you guys out, because I know this stuff already, not everything, but I know a lot of stuff, and hopefully, I just want to share the information with you guys, because a lot of people have come up to me saying I want to learn Mika, or I want to improve, and I've hit a plateau, and like my impromptu guides have been helping people, hopefully this matchup outline guide has been helping people. Because like I said, I've done it in the past, just a rough outline of what to look into training mode, but that covered like 6 things. Those are 6 random things. Some of them were in this video, some of them probably weren't. But this is just a matchup outline guide for R.Mika that you can use against all the characters. This is just to put you in the right direction. This is not definitive. Alright, so I'm going to put the necessary video links in the description below. I'm going to stop blabbering on because I've got to go head out somewhere, as I've said like 300 times in this video. Enough of the sound of my voice. This has been your boy HC Jammers. It's going to be a lot of DBZF and MVCI content coming out soon. Not just from me, from a lot of people. That's why I had to do this video early. But we're going to be signing out here. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'll see you guys in the next Street Fighter 5 video. So take care, guys. And we'll see you next time.